Kristi Noem's ICE tactics are too brutal.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen a video yet of a peaceful apprehension and deportation. I haven't seen a video of people clapping for this.
Yes, Mo and Chica on Morning Joke. But they haven't seen a peaceful arrest and deportation. They have the brains of peanuts, I think, of peanuts, don't they? Peanuts don't actually have brains, do they, Michael? No, they don't. Hey, the violence continues. The mob violence from coast to coast. The Democrat Party stirring up, some of them, including members of Congress, talking about civil war. I fight authority. Authority always win. I think that's the song. This is the song they should play at her funeral, don't you think? Renee Nicole Good. They could play I Fight Authority, Authority Always Wins at her funeral, and everybody could dance and sing. Then they could firebomb a synagogue and attack the police and do all the things that the Democrats do. They could do it while cross-dressing, which I think is perfectly normal for them, isn't it? When I say normal, I use that word while making quotation marks with my fingers, because the Democrat Party is far from normal. Boy, are they abnormal. And they proved it again all weekend long, didn't they? Yes, they did. Where did they prove? Well, in New York, in Washington, in Los Angeles, in Portland, Oregon. They prove it again and again. The Democrat Party, they love people that try to run over federal law enforcement agents with their cars, and they really despise federal law enforcement agencies, and they don't believe in sovereignty for the United States of America. They believe in open borders for Tren de Aragua. And, in fact, there was another one. That was in Portland, right? The Tren de Aragua couple was shot, and all the Democrats came out, and they're ranting and raving. Oh, these poor innocent married couple was shot. And the Republicans and the law enforcement said, well, they're Tren de Aragua. They're illegal alien members of a Venezuelan gang. And she, by the way, the woman who's supposed to be the loving wife, was forced into prostitution by Tren de Aragua, dragged to the United States, where the Democrats gave her $20 a pop, I think. Did they give her $20 a pop? How much did they give her? Because the Democrats, they're very, very unwell. But then it turned out that the Republicans came out and said, well, wait a minute, because all the Democrats in Oregon, they came out and they held a press conference saying, oh, the awful, awful, terrible law enforcement. They shot this poor, innocent, loving couple. And then the Republicans came out and said, this poor, innocent, loving couple are illegal alien gang members with Tren de Aragua out of Venezuela. And she is not his loving and adoring wife. She's been forced into prostitution by the loving husband who is not her loving husband. But the Democrat Party, they're on the side of Tren de Aragua and not federal law enforcement, the entire Democrat Party, from Nancy Pelosi on down. Where's Barack Obama? Is he at Martha's Vineyard with Larry Sinclair? Where he is now? Where's Big Mike? Got to know where Big Mike is, too. A very good Monday to you, and welcome back once again. Hope you had a great American weekend. We are at 888-630-9625. We've got a lot going on in the world. In Iran, for example, the nation of Iran, what was that, an insurrection? It's insurrectionist behavior. They're fighting an actually a vicious, totalitarian, repressive regime. And the Democrats, they're on the side of the regime. In fact, there was an incident yesterday where the anti-Ayatollah people were protesting in the United States, and the jihadi Democrat crashed a U-Haul van, a rented van, into the crowd of people and hit at least one person with the rented van. Honestly, kind of like Renee Good hit one person with her SUV. And he was saved by the police, this individual driving the U-Haul van. The police rushed in and saved him from a mob of people who were already pounding him on the head and looking to beat him. When do you stop? I don't know. But you go driving vans into crowds of people, and it usually doesn't lead to positive outcomes. So we got that going, and it's been a busy weekend. I'm just scratching the surface now. But Democrat Congresswoman on MS-13 DNC calls for ICE to be abolished. They're rogue. They're racist. They're racist. Don't you know they're racist? And then she shaved her head like the death cult loony moonhead that she is. But we've got that for you. Yeah, abolish ICE because they're rogue and they're racist. They're racist. And then the Democrats killed 40% of the black population in the womb again this year. You know, the party of slavery and the Confederate States of America and the Klan go around calling everybody racist. Isn't that amazing? And the chair of the DNC, they have a chair. It's kind of amazing because the DNC almost doesn't exist right now. But the amazing people of the DNC, and they have a chair. His name is Ken Martin. And DNC chair Ken Martin compares the United States to Iran for, quote, killing protesters, end quote. Now, over the weekend, it's, I think, the death toll, and the numbers are all over the place. But for the Iranian protesters who are being massacred, being killed quite liberally by the Ayatollah's boys, they've killed hundreds. And a lowball number is probably 400 Iranians that have been murdered by the regime there, which is actually repressive. And Donald Trump's not in charge, the Ayatollahs. The Democrats are closer to the Ayatollah than they are to Donald Trump. And I think that is literally true, sadly, but literally true. And they killed 100. Now, some of the estimates are going well into the thousands. Some, that 400 is kind of the working number for the left-wing news media that smooths things over for the Ayatollahs. 1,000 people killed in the protests in Iran. Pretty good operating number right now. But some of the numbers are going into the thousands, plural, of people killed by the Iranian regime. And here is the chair of the Democratic National Committee, compares the U.S. to Iran, claims that both are killing protesters. Sure, and there you go. Were they all racing cars at the place when they were killed in Iran? Ken Martin, chair of the anonymous chair of the DNC, Ken Martin suggests recent Minneapolis ICE shooting was comparable to Iranian protesters being killed by security officials, and literally by the hundreds, possibly by the thousands. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin compared the U.S. to Iran in several social media posts on Sunday, that's yesterday, claiming both countries are guilty of killing protesters, therefore are morally equivalent. Martin made his first comparison on X, expressing support for both protesters in the U.S. and in Iran for rising up against what he called systems that wield violence without accountability. They're truly amazing. Their brains don't work. They have memories that don't go beyond this morning, maybe 5 minutes ago. He said, from Tehran to my birthplace of Minneapolis, I see the connection. People are rising up against systems that wield violence without accountability. Sure, that's what's going on in the United States. But, you know, Donald Trump was shot through the ear in Pennsylvania not too long ago. I guess he was held accountable. A counter sniper with the Secret Service had to shoot and kill him because Democrats, you know. From Tehran to my birthplace in Minneapolis, people are rising up against systems that wield violence without accountability. In Iran, brave protesters confront listen to this, a far-right theocratic regime that crushes dissent and denies basic freedoms, Martin wrote. Martin then, he sent out a check so they could slaughter another 1 million innocent babies in the womb this year. These people are, they honestly, they make Dr. Mengele look fairly rational. He continued, here at home, tens of thousands of marchers, tens of thousands are marching after the fatal ICE shooting of Renee Good, demanding justice. That's not what they're demanding. They're demanding violence. They're demanding uprising. They're demanding insurrection. See, he says they're demanding justice, transparency, and an end to an unchecked federal force. Doesn't exist. That takes lives, not true, and tears families apart. You guys are the ones that started tearing families apart in the 1960s, and you've done a damn good job with that, I've got to say. Destroyed the nuclear family in America, still working toward that like the commies that you are. He said, solidarity across borders means opposing authoritarian power everywhere and defending the right to live free from fear and state violence. Now, I mean, again, in the Biden administration. First of all, Joe Biden called up 25,000 National Guard to the nation's capital, kept them here for months on end, targeted using the FBI, the Justice Department, all the law enforcement they can muster, and of course, the intelligence communities to target the political enemies of the Democrat Party, rounding them up, putting them in leg shackles. Honestly, you people are an absolute disgrace to civilization itself. Solidarity across borders means opposing authoritarian power everywhere, defending the right to live free from fear, like you guys. You guys are the thing to fear. You're the left. And state violence. And then he's got # stand with Iran. And when he says stand with Iran, what he means is the Ayatollahs. What he means is the people that are actually slaughtering people. Justice for Renee Good. Justice, what she, I think, got, unfortunately, justice. And # end authoritarianism. I like to call them pound signs because that's what they are. They're pound signs. Martin was referring to ongoing protests against the Iranian government that have led to, this has dozens of deaths, thousands of detentions. They take them into the Iranian prisons. They torture them. Many of them never come out. They kill them because they're an actual authoritarian regime, which the Democrats are aspiring to be. They need an Ayatollah, the Democrats, I think. And I'm sorry, they call the Ayatollahs far right. Call the Ayatollahs far right. And the Ken is an authoritarian jackal who slakes his thirst on the blood of innocents. But never mind that. It's just the rhetoric of the day. You know how that goes. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, and that's the Democrat Party is really not on our side at all. And I've got a lot of audio today that establishes that pretty well. That's right. They're marching at home, and it's just like Iran. Also, I don't know if you saw in London. It was London, right, where a presumably a Persian, Iranian man climbed the front of the Iranian embassy in London, pulled down the Iranian flag, the current, jihadi Ayatollah Iranian flag, and put up the old flag from before the Ayatollahs, before 1979, when the Shah was there, and the son of the Shah, Reza Pahlavi, who I was hanging out with just a few months ago, is talking about making a comeback in Iran with mixed reactions to that, I've got to say. But there we go. So after Martin, the DNC chair, received backlash for likening the Trump administration to the Iranian government, he doubled down with another post hours later. He said, if comparing the U.S. to Iran makes you angry, ask why. Killing protesters. Let's list the protest. Were the protesters racing cars at federal agents in an effort to run them over and kill them? Crushing dissent. You guys were the ones crushing dissent and free speech and canceling people. You canceled the President of the United States from Twitter, now X. So here he is. Here's the Democrat Party. The head of the Democrat Party said, if comparing the U.S. to Iran makes you angry, ask why. Okay. All right, commie pig dog. Killing protesters. You mean one writer who was racing her car to cop. Crushing dissent. You guys are the ones who crushed dissent. Kidnapping and disappearing legal citizens. Now he's just making things up out of whole cloth. Ignoring courts. Not doing that. He's challenging courts. You guys ignore the courts quite constantly, and you build in your crooked judges, too. Threatening critics. You guys, never mind. Terrorizing communities. They have these talking points, and they just use them. That's authoritarian behavior anywhere. This is the head of the DNC. If you're rushing to defend it, maybe the problem isn't the comparison. Trump keeps pushing it. I got to say, Trump keeps pushing it. Americans aren't buying it, and Minneapolis won't be silent. What are they calling for, Michael? I think they're calling for lots and lots of Democrats calling for more and more violence. Members of Congress, elected officials in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and beyond, calling for violence all over the place because, it's the left. They're not liberals. They're the left. Isn't that amazing? Also, I've got an update for you on Renee Nicole Good. Oh, and also, I'm sure you all watched the Golden Globes last night. Just kidding. But they had some funny buttons, like little pins they were wearing on their clothes. What do those funny little pins say? And what's the update on Renee Nicole Good, who was shot and killed by federal law enforcement in Minnesota last week? The Democrats, they really are Iran. They are not on Team America by a long, long, long shot. They're on the side of the Ayatollahs. Yeah, we're worse than Iran, crushing dissent, stifling free speech, shooting protesters. How are we different than 888-630-9625? All right, so we got crazy Democrats at home. A bigger threat than Iran is to us, a bigger threat than Russia is to us. And let us, Michael, let us go to the telephones. We are at 888-630-9625. A lot of angry, crazy white females out there. We've developed a couple of acronyms for them in the last week or so. Right now, let's go back to the telephones. Let's go to Garrett, calling from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Garrett, you are on the Chris Plant Show.
Well, good morning, Chris.
Hey, Garrett.
I was thinking about Miss Cook, or Good, I'm sorry, who was killed by a federal officer. And I thought, there was another woman killed by a federal officer. There didn't seem to be any protest or anything. And that officer was cleared under suspicious circumstances. And that was Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah.
When are we going to see a comparison of the two, the way they were investigated, the circumstances of the shooting? Put that up on the screen on TV and let people look at that. And I think they'll have a different take on what's fair.
Oh, fair. You want fair.
Yeah.
And equal treatment under law. Is that what you suppose we should have in the United States?
Exactly.
Just because it's in the stone over the entrance to the Supreme Court of the United States, equal justice under law, and you'd like to see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I admire your optimism. And the problem we have, do you know what the problem is, Garrett?
Democrats.
It really is, isn't it? And it's so it's so often the correct answer. It's become, it should be embarrassing for them, but I see that they are literally unembarrassable.
That seems to be the case.
It does seem to be the case. You're right. Ashley Babbitt was shot and killed without warning by a U.S. Capitol Police officer, Michael Byrd, who was given the Congressional Gold Medal or something. The Democrats had a parade for them. They carried him around on their shoulders like it was a Jewish wedding. It was really something to see, the Democrat Party. They are amazing. Yeah, Garrett, Ashley Babbitt. There are others as well. The idiot, who is it? The idiot mayor, the idiot governor. I got more coming up. The Washington Times in my hand right now. Newspaper of record in your nation's capital. And their lead story headline, hundreds killed in Iranian strife. It's strife, a lot of strife going on there. Regime threatens U.S., Israel, as Trump weighs military action. And I want to get back to that, but first I want to get back to the Iranian regime in the United States, and that is the Democrat Party. They're really something. The headline from the British Broadcasting Corporation in England is more federal agents to be sent to Minnesota after shooting, Trump administration says. And the Bloomberg News people, hundreds more federal agents heading to Minnesota, Noem says. Our Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said, hey, how about that? That's pretty good. Hundreds more federal agents heading to Minnesota. The Democrats, I guess, are going to have to do a lot of self-immolating or something. Just amazing stuff. The Democrats are anti-law enforcement, and they hill CPB, Customs Border Protection, to send 200 more agents to Minnesota. And the Democrats are anti-law enforcement. They're anti-national sovereignty for the United States of America. Don't believe that we should have identifiable borders, right? And they believe that Tren de Aragua should rule the roost in the United States of America in much the way they do in Venezuela. They're turning us into a third world country. It's the takedown of the United States of America by the left. And here's the other story on the front page above the fold, Washington Times. ICE tragedy sparks collision of videos, protests, politics. Democrats claim Fed cover-up. Naturally, they do. They assume that it's what they'd do. They'd be engaged in a cover-up. They assume that everyone is as corrupt as they are. Aren't they amazing? And also, headline just below that: Democrats demand Kristi Noem's ouster over confrontations, because really this is the left is making the play big time for the United States of America. The Soviet Union had nothing on the Democrat Party of 2026. But here it is: ICE tragedy sparks collision of videos, protests, politics, and the fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good by an officer of U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement has morphed from a local tragedy into a national political battle. I was reminded this morning, I was listening to them, we had hundreds and maybe thousands slaughtered by the regime in Iran, right? And we had one crazy Democrat woman who's, a white liberal woman who's out of her mind, was shot while trying to run over a federal law enforcement officer, which if you go out today and you try to run over a federal law enforcement officer, chances are very good you're going to be shot to death. So, help yourself, do what you want, Democrats. But here we go. So I was reminded of Joseph Stalin and the Democrat Party line that a single death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths are a statistic. We had 1 million abortions last year because the Democrats, helpless little babies screaming, crying out. Never mind that. 1 million deaths are choice. And honestly, you have hundreds, maybe thousands gunned down, murdered, arrested, tortured, hanged, killed in Iran. That's a statistic. But the Democrats can politicize the death of Renee Good, and they'll make hay out of it, right? Also, I should mention that last night on the what do they call it, Golden Globes, we were actually switching back and forth between the Golden Globes and NFL football last night, my best girl and I. But I noticed that they had these little 1-inch buttons, a number of them, that say, what, go good. Be good. Be good. Be good. And my best girl said, what's that all about? I said, well, certainly, no doubt about it. It's Renee Good in Minneapolis, who's the new martyr for the jihad of the Democrat Party. And, she's the George Floyd of 2026. The Democrats want to burn things because they're fascists, you know how they are, and they're violent mobs. But the fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good by an officer of U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement morphed from a local tragedy into a national political battle because the Democrats further inflaming divisions over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown and the role of federal agents in Democrat-run cities. What began as a chaotic encounter has evolved into a dispute over transparency, jurisdiction, and who controls the narrative of the incident. Right. Senator Tina Smith, a Minnesota Democrat, accused the administration Sunday of trying to hide the facts by excluding state and local officials from the investigation. That's because it's a federal law enforcement matter, and it's how it always works. It's in the books. It's a matter of routine. She said President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem are, quote, attempting to cover up what happened here in the Twin Cities. Well, that's completely ridiculous. You couldn't do that even if you wanted to. There were how many different videos of the thing going on over there that were shot by citizens, by Americans who had video cameras in their phones thanks to the patriarchy and the United States of America. But never mind that. The extensively videotaped shooting Wednesday has become the latest flashpoint in the intensifying debate over federal immigration enforcement. That is to say, the Democrats want open borders, wide open borders with no enforcement, no security of any kind. They want everyone to be raped and killed by gang members from non-English-speaking countries. Doesn't really matter which non-English-speaking countries, let's be honest. The footage recorded from several angles has become a Rorschach test for a deeply divided country between sane and rational people whose brains work properly and Democrats on the other side. So we got that going there. Also, by the way, the person, she was out there after dropping her 6-year-old rapscallion off at school, allegedly, and then hooking up with her wife or her girlfriend, depending on which news report you want to believe, whether they're married or they're just, a couple of girls who live together raising a boy who's going to end up going to a tower someday. But never mind that. The Wall Street Apes people put out a statement on this yesterday on Al Gore's Amazing Internet. So it turns out the woman shot by ICE in Minneapolis, Renee Nicole Good, was protecting. They're out there trying to interfere with ICE, who was there to arrest somebody. Who were they there to arrest? She was trying to prevent ICE from arresting a Somali man who's a sex offender, who's here illegally, who has a warrant out for his arrest. But Nicole Good, who gets buttons at the Golden Globe Awards last night from really, really dumb Hollywood people. Who's that guy? Mark Ruffalo, one of the dumbest people ever to come out of Hollywood, and he's wearing this idiot button. Be good, be good. But does that mean you go out and try to run people over? Is that what being good means? But here it goes. Listen to this. So do you guys want to meet who Renee Nicole Good thought she was protecting? Who she set out to protect when she went and attacked ICE? Because this is one of the men that ICE arrested in a targeted operation there in Minneapolis. His name is Mahad Abubakar Yusuf. All right? And who is he? Well, he's a Somali man who's in the country illegally. How do you get into the U.S. illegally when you're Somali? You just saunter across the border, sashay across the border. First, you have to go to Mexico, I guess. Listen to this. He has a prior conviction for sexual assault in 2016, and Renee wanted him to stay on the street and stay in the United States. He also has prior arrests, plural, for first-degree assault, and an active warrant is out for him for obstructing police, just like Renee Nicole Good obstructing police. The Democrat Party is rabble. Worse, it is noted by Wall Street Apes, ICE reports that they previously tried to arrest this guy at his apartment. He's illegal. He's a sexual predator. He's got an apartment. We're probably paying for it. Delete probably. We're paying for it. But the building manager blocked them. The building manager blocked ICE from entering the building, and the building manager shielded the guy. You know, he's a convicted sex offender, but never mind that. He has victimized women while in the country illegally, and the Democrats want more of that based on their policies. That's who this woman, Renee Nicole Good, who abandoned her 6-year-old child to go and obstruct ICE officers and then attack one of the officers, trying to run him over with her vehicle. And the Democrats still deny this. And you can show them the video again and again. It's like, here's the video. And we got the police body cam video where you can hear the vehicle slamming into him as she races at him. And it's unmistakable. It's undeniable. But they deny it anyway because of the many mental illnesses. So aren't they great? These are the people liberals have been brainwashed into thinking that they need to go help and to protect. The same liberals who didn't care about Laken Riley, the nursing student in Georgia, assaulted and murdered by an illegal alien from Venezuela. Rachel Morin, the mother of 5 in Maryland, who was out for an exercise walk when she was raped and murdered by an illegal alien. I think he was from Venezuela, too, wasn't he? Venezuela's reputation is not what it used to be. Or Joycelyn Nungary, who honestly scolded us for bringing them up. The Democrats, you bring up Joycelyn Nungary, murdered Rachel Morin, murdered, mother of 5, Laken Riley, nursing student, murdered. And the Democrats really don't care about those people. The American people, they don't care about. These are the same people who celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. Oh, he deserved to die, right? And Laken Riley deserved to die, and Rachel Morin deserved to die, and Joycelyn Nungary deserved to die, according to the Democrat Party. Charlie Kirk deserved to be shot and killed by an assassin. Donald Trump was shot through the ear. Democrats didn't. And, there are no marches for these people. The Democrats, they march for criminals. But they don't march for innocent victims of crimes that are committed because of their policies when they swing the doors open and wave in the gangs from Venezuela, and then they commit terrible crimes as any school child could predict. And then they just ignore it and go back to doing whatever crimes they do normally. Same liberals who didn't care about Lake and Riley, Rachel Morin, Jocelyn Nungaray, and the same liberals that scolded us all for even mentioning their names. Same people celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, and now they're saying, say her name about a woman who was technically committing a felony to obstruct ICE officers and an attempted murder of a police officer. When you try to run over a police officer with your vehicle, it's a weapon. And they were trying to arrest a Somali illegal alien sex criminal, and the Democrats are out there. They're giving their lives to defend illegal alien Somali sex criminals, sacrificing their lives. Not that they'd sign up for the military and go fight terrorism or anything, but, and they wonder how Trump won in a landslide. These people don't love their neighbors. They seem to actively want most of them to be harmed, the nice people at Wall Street Apes. Now, let's get, because they're completely insane, honestly. Just great. Well, you know, Tom Emmer, I guess we have to. We've got a lot of crazy people audio today, and I want to get to some of those. But we've got people on the line who are talking about all kinds of good things, and we've got members of Congress, Republicans, and then lunatic, mentally ill Democrat members of Congress like Jasmine Crockett, and then the violent lunatics. Michael and I. We were texting on our group thread over the weekend again and again about what was going on in the world, right? And it's and in our country, you know, Iran and the United States, you know, and these idiots out here. Honestly, to the extent that our country is anything like Iran, it's the Democrat Party. It is 100% the totalitarian, killing, bloodlusty, and again, guilty people are killed, and they freak out all over the country. Innocent people are raped and murdered, and they really don't care. Let's go to the phones, Michael. Let's go to Rob calling from Montgomery County, Maryland. Rob, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris, good morning and Happy New Year.
Hey, Rob. Thank you.
Very, very, very good to talk to you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you know, we're talking about all these people that don't belong here. Remember all the ones that were flown into the country and nobody knew about that?
I do.
And I think a lot of those would have been people up in Minnesota, you know, persons.
Yeah.
Persons of interest.
If only we had a news media that tried to find out.
Yeah, that. And, you know, you're right. You just touched on something about patriotism. Yeah, this lady, unfortunately, you know, it's really a crying shame that the lady was killed, all right? But
yeah,
these
sure,
people,
it is.
They're law enforcement. The word law doesn't mean much to these people.
That's right. That's right.
That's the real problem here, and doesn't seem to be getting better. And I never hear about them say anything positive. Do you ever hear these people say anything positive?
Well, they think, you know, calling for a civil war and mayhem and attacking and destroying people's worlds, they think that's positive. Trump bad, Orange Man bad, destroy Orange Man. It's very culty, Rob. It's become very much like a cult, and it kind of, and the Democrats have always been the cult people, going back to SDS and the Student Underground and the, you know, Symbionese Liberation Army and robbing armored cars to fund the revolution, and you know, they've been a violent party forever, terrorist groups forever, going back to the KKK, and now the whole Democrat Party, they've been so effectively brainwashed, social media and broader media, news media and entertainment media, the brainwashing will continue.
Hey, Chris.
Yes, sir.
The one other thing, you know how they mentioned, well, we're evolving. Yeah, they've evolved, all right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're evolving they're moving from the USSR to Pol Pot. They're not getting better. They're getting worse. And, you know, and the narrative, it's all about the narrative for the left, isn't it? Because they own so many platforms. A lie told once remains a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. I don't know if you were following Al Gore's amazing internet over the weekend the way that I was, but the number of mentally ill Democrats is I think unprecedented. It's normal now to be abnormal. And I've been talking about this for years, how the Democrats, their mission now is to take down the United States of America and to replace it with something more totalitarian. But their goal has been to make the abnormal normal. Everything that is abnormal has to be made normal, cross-dressing and child genital mutilation and so on. Make everything that is normal abnormal and make everything that is abnormal normal. That's today's Democrat Party. Abby-normal. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Hack, calling from Bethesda, Maryland. Hack, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning. I got a good one for you here. I think that there should be a requirement for every ICE protest / open border demonstration that they start with an acknowledgement that they're standing on stolen land. Stolen land? Did we steal it from the deer? Well, I don't know. I mean, there seems to be a bit of a conflict, and I think we're pretty much the same age. You familiar with Schoolhouse Rock, right? Yeah, more or less. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Uh-huh. I missed the episode where mayors set the immigration policies for the federal government. Is that like one of the lost episodes? It must be a lost episode. Yeah, where insane, mentally ill mayors are on the side of anarchy, and they really are on the side of anarchy, aren't they? Well, yeah, I don't understand. I mean, they get to set immigration policies, the price for World Cup tickets, all kinds of things. Oh, yeah, I've got a World Cup update, as a matter of fact, too. They were busy on that over the weekend. The left was. They're very busy. They're industrious, like termites. They're like termites. The left, very, very insidious. Hack, thank you. Land grab. I was thinking about the guy who said we stole the land from the deer.